Welcome to Business First Africa with Ashwin Mbedi, where it's never just business, it is life. Today we're going to be having updates from Namibia, but prior to that, these are the top business stories stemming from the African continent. Africa's poorest economies face growing external financing shortfall. Dangote refinery adopts dollar pricing for fuel sales. Kenya extends fuel VAT relief and subsidy measures. Nigeria approves larger tax incentive for Shell Deepwater project. And De Beers suspends production at Venetia Diamond Mine in South Africa. DSTV 285, GoTV 25, oneup2.com, Network Media Hub, and ntvafrica.my.na. That is where you can watch the show. Stay with us.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative sport tourism.
Let's get straight into our top stories. Africa's poorest economies are sending more money to foreign creditors than they receive for development, creating a widening financing gap that threatens investment in infrastructure and industrial growth. According to Ayodeji Adegobega with video source VidCrunch, a report by the French development think tank Ferdi estimates that 38 low-income African countries face an external financing gap of approximately $120 billion in 2026 if they are to raise investment to levels linked with rapid industrialization achieved by several Asian economies. The report says global financing conditions have become increasingly difficult, with the World Bank reporting that low and middle income countries paid $741 billion more in principal and interest on external debt between 2022 and 2024 than they received in new external financing. Ferdi estimates these countries require around $165 billion in annual investment between 2026 and 2030, with domestic savings expected to finance part of that amount, while $120 billion must come from external sources. And of course, the images you are seeing there were a lot of Africans who send money abroad. These numbers are reaching the millions when we talk about remittances, and very often African economies themselves do not benefit. It does, however, have a role to play with regards to social progression for those people living in and outside Africa. We'll go deeper into that in our next show. But right now, let's go to Nigeria, where Dangote Refinery has introduced a new pricing system for refined petroleum products, replacing Naira-based transactions with US dollar pricing. According to Chinedu Okafor, with video source VidCrunch, the refinery fixed the ex-depot price of premium motor spirit at 0.779 per litre, while automotive gas oil will cost $1.087 per litre and aviation turbine kerosene $0.942 per litre. Petrol supplied through coastal deliveries is priced at $1,044.62 per metric ton. The transition ends the refinery's use of Naira for refined product sales introduced under the federal government's Naira for Crude plan in October 2024. Dangote informed marketers and customers that all Naira-denominated pro forma invoices and deal recaps for gantry and coastal transactions are no longer valid and payments must now be made in dollars. Liquefied petroleum gas remains under the existing payment arrangement. Industry sources said the refinery adopted the new pricing model because crude oil purchases are increasingly billed in dollars, while many domestic fuel sales remained in Naira, creating exchange rate risks. The development is expected to affect Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector. Now, Kenya has extended its reduction in value-added tax on petroleum, of course, products for another 3 months. And this is until mid-October to cushion households and businesses from volatility in global energy prices. According to Reuters, with a report by Thomas Mokoya, the government reduced VAT on petroleum products from 16% to 8% in April for 3 months after crude oil prices rose because of the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran. Energy and Petroleum Minister Opiyo Wandayi announced that the extension would be accompanied by a subsidy of 945 million shillings, equivalent to $7.31 million, to maintain current fuel prices during the July-August pricing cycle. Wandayi also assured Kenyans that fuel remains readily available despite renewed hostilities between the U.S. and Iran. Kenya imports nearly all its fuel products from the Middle East through government-to-government agreements. The measures are intended to shield consumers and businesses from continued fluctuations in the international energy markets. The announcement follows disruptions experienced earlier this year after crude prices climbed sharply. In May, transport operators staged a strike over fuel price increases. The latest extension keeps the reduced VAT rate in place while the government continues efforts to stabilize domestic fuel prices for the next 3 months. Now, Nigeria has introduced a pretty hefty tax incentive, and this is for Shell PLC's planned Bonga Southwest Aparo Deepwater Oil project, as President Bola Tinubu's administration seeks to revive investment in the petroleum sector. According to Adenkule Agbetiloye, with video source from VidCrunch, the federal government granted Shell a production-linked tax credit worth $11.50 for every barrel of crude produced. The incentive, approved by President Tinubu, is more than double the standard tax credit under existing regulations and may also be extended to other international oil companies undertaking major investments. The measure is intended to accelerate a final investment decision on the long-delayed offshore development. NNPC Limited estimates the project will attract around $20 billion in foreign direct investment and produce approximately 150,000 barrels of crude oil per day once operational, according to Bloomberg. Shell said work on the project is progressing and that major updates will be communicated through official channels. The incentive forms part of broader reforms introduced since 2023 to restore investor confidence after years of crude theft, pipeline vandalism, aging infrastructure, regulatory uncertainty, and declining investment, reduced production, and which contributes to Nigeria missing its OPEC production targets. Now, mining company, diamond mining company De Beers, is suspending its operations, and this is at Venetia in South Africa for 2 years after falling demand continues to affect the global diamond industry. According to Natasha Budi and Charles Haviland, prices have declined because fewer consumers are buying diamonds, particularly in China. while cheaper lab-grown diamonds have increased competition. De Beers said it is closing the mine to reduce costs and streamline operations during weak market conditions. The Venetia mine, located in northern South Africa, produces more than 40% of the country's diamonds and employs more than 4,000 people. The company said the suspension period will be used to improve infrastructure and increase capacity before production resumes when market conditions improve. Majority owned by Anglo-American, De Beers is reportedly being prepared for sale as Anglo-American shifts its focus towards copper. The International Diamond Consultant's Rough Diamond Price Index has almost halved since 2022. Lab-grown diamonds have become increasingly popular as consumers raise ethical concerns over mining conditions and environmental impacts, although De Beers and other producers also manufacture lab-grown diamonds. De Beers traces its history to 1871 and was founded by Cecil Rhodes, whose legacy continues to generate significant debate. So those have been some of the top headlines stemming from Africa. We're going to take a quick break before we zoom in on the economic news in the land of the brave, Namibia.
Do you like traveling?
Do you like to experience new places?
Well, then you should tune into On the Rock, where we explore enjoy establishments all over Namibia and South Africa. Great food, great fun, and so much more. So be sure to mark your calendar as we explore the beautiful landscapes of Namibia at the various enjoy establishments.
And where we also get to go on game drives, different activities, and meet the awesome staff of the different establishments.
We will see you there. Watch On the Rocks every Monday at 9 p.m. on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel.
Dit is 'n echt Namibiese inisiatief. Ons reis op die hartklop van Afrika en vertel stories van mense en hulle dorpe op verskeie platforms insluitende televisie en sosiale media. Dit is joune, syne, julle en ook almal van hulle aan die ander kant van ons grense sinne. En dit maak Aitsa 'n lekker ding. Kyk Aitsa maande om 18:30 op NTV, oneup2.com, as ook op Netwerk Media Hub en NTV Afrikaans se YouTube kanale. Volg ons op Facebook of besoek ons webwerf by aitsafrica.com.
All right, it's time for us to swing into Namibia, starting with Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia advisor Rusa Ntinda, saying Namibia must prepare young people for emerging opportunities in the space science and technology sector as global demand for specialized skills continues to rise. Speaking during a public consultation on the proposed Space Science and Technology Bill in Oshoarongo, Ntinda said countries such as China have created thousands of jobs linked to space technology to meet growing demand. This video is by Philippas Joseph.
Laws that is really working for them in this area, especially to ensure sustainability of space sector issues. Why don't we do the same? So their job is basically to advise government on that. The other is to ensure working in working together as a nation within a regional, continental, and international setting. We have treaties and agreements that we have signed as member states, and we need to ensure that we adhere and implement those treaties. Develop and recommend governance, national space policies and the rest, and promote capacity building. That's why the professor was explaining to you that these are the skills that you will need for this. Perhaps it's time we move a little bit away from the generic job market and meet the whole world in the system where it's going. I think if you follow Chinese media, I follow that a lot because I'm in the tech space. They discommunicated 3,000 qualifications because they are saying the world is moving away from the generic job market into a new sector of technology and space development. So maybe as a student, you may have to look in a new sector other than the standing professions that have always been there. Phase 2 is overseeing tangible operational and safety and resource regulation.
Now, the proposed Space Science and Technology Bill could unlock new opportunities for young Namibians by laying the foundation for stronger innovation and homegrown technological development. And this is according to Rediland Oseb, a learner at Aparesis Secondary School in Oshu Warongo. This video is also by Philippas Joseph.
Greetings, my name is Oseb Rediland. I'm a learner from Aparesis Secondary School. Today we had a workshop. Theme was space science and technology. But I think this will actually be beneficial if the government actually implements it. Not only the act being made and it's collecting dust, but if the government actually implements it, it will actually be very beneficial for us, because it not only includes complex things such as maybe cyber security from, let's say, aerial attacks, but it's also involved in our day-to-day life, so it could make our day-to-day life better. And it will also ensure that we are more secure, because it could make it that we are more secure. And what is this? Also, since like we'll have day-to-day data, so I think it will also be easier for our archaeologists not archaeologists possibly, to discover, let's say, here we can find oil or such stuff, so on. It will also be easier for them to do that, and very possible, because we never know. For let's say, let me give you an example. If a caveman cannot distinguish between a diamond and a normal stone, so let's say we do not still know who is out there. We still do not know what type of talent they have or what type of abilities they have. So in the long run, I think it's possible. The person might not accomplish as much as Elon Musk did, but I think there actually be certain individuals that can actually majorly contribute to the development and growth of Namibia. And experts, currently we are lacking experts. Majority of truly skilled people that are truly qualified, are foreigners, and it will be very difficult to fill this gap, to have our own people, our own chemical engineers, our own scientists, our own individuals are specialized in different fields. It will be hard to get there, but I think with this, if they truly implement it, in time, 10 years, 20 years, but in time, I'm sure that there will be individuals that are truly qualified.
Now, speaking at the 5th annual Swakopmund Business Breakfast under the theme, The Next Wave, Turning New Industries into Coastal Prosperity, Swakopmund Municipality CEO Archie Benjamin outlined key priorities for the town's future development. These include establishing a tertiary institution and specialized schools, expanding manufacturing and light industry, promoting urban agriculture, and accelerating Swakopmund's transformation into a smart city through improved digital infrastructure. Now, this report is by Lena Ndake Vonjo.
The other one, we said, the other development pillar we want to exploit is the development pillar of quality education. Number one, there is no reason why this town could not have a tertiary institution for whatever reason. That is one. But also bring in schools, or specialized schools. I'll come to that. Then we also said the third pillar is light industrial. We have a very vibrant industrial area there. But we must focus on manufacturing, because the harbor is just 30 minutes away, depending on who's driving. So there is land adjacent to the industrial area next to the airport. We need to develop that land for that purpose. And then that study also indicated there is an opportunity for urban agriculture here in Soko. In fact, there is urban agriculture already happening along our riverside on an economic basis. So we identify, as you will see in those brochures, maybe I must go to, There are areas, the green areas, identified potentially for urban agriculture. The fifth one, we said we want to jump on this smart city concept. Because one, we want to leverage, of course, on technology to offer fast, efficient services to our residents. But also, we need to improve our digital infrastructure.
All right, now swinging into another region, Kavango East received more than 380 million Namibian dollars from the central government during the 2025-26 financial year to fund health, education, water, sanitation and infrastructure projects. Governor Hamunyera Hambuka announced during the State of the Region address. Hambuka said the Health Directorate received more than $260 million, while Rundu Town Council was allocated $75 million for infrastructure upgrades. Education and water projects received over 46 million Namibian dollars combined. He added that most projects recorded implementation rates of between 80 and 99%, reflecting prudent financial management and improved service delivery. This video is by Elio Tipinge.
Of our performance for the 2025-2026 financial year. The region received a significant financial allocation across various sectors. The Health Directorate was allocated over 260 million Namibian dollars, with approximately 106 million Namibian dollars directed to Catholic health services. The Rundu Town Council received 75 million Namibian dollars from the Ministry of Urban and Rural Development for infrastructure upgrading. The Education Directorate received over 23 million Namibian dollars for the facilities development and renovation. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform allocated 23.5 million Namibian dollars for water supply and sanitation projects. Overall, our expenditures performed has been commendable. The Health Directorate achieved 99% execution of its budget. The Rundu Town Council completed projects ranging from 80 to 100%. The Environment and Tourism Directorate achieved approximately 90% execution. These figures demonstrate our commitment to prudent financial management and effective service delivery. Honorable Chairperson, allow me now to briefly.
And finally, eTaxi Namibia launched the eTaxi Namibia app, and this is introducing a digital transportation platform aimed at improving the taxi industry through technology, safety, efficiency, and enhanced customer service. Delivering the official address, founder and managing director Esther Kalangula said the idea was born from a desire to create a safer, more reliable, and convenient travel experience, adding that this vision laid the foundation for eTaxi Namibia. And this report is by George De Santos.
Years ago, when I was a student at the university, I used to use taxis every day of my life. Sometimes I stand by the roadside waiting for a taxi to stop by so I can get home safe. And many times I wonder, how long do I have to wait? And finally, when I got a taxi even dropped me at the taxi rank where I have to walk home, which was really inconvenient for me. Today, I am a mother of 4, and I would love and I want my children to experience the Namibian culture way of sharing taxis in Namibia. But I want them to experience it in a safer way, in a reliable way, also in a convenient way. That thought exactly planted the seeds of e-taxi Namibia. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm not gonna introduce you to an app, but today I'm gonna tell you what we believe in. Every company starts with a decision to make a difference.
Thank you very much for joining us on Business First Africa. Do make sure you follow us on Facebook, where we have daily updates on what is happening in Africa's business world. For us, we try not to focus on what's not working, even though we do have to talk about it. Really, our priority is how we can drive Africa forward. Because on DSTV 285, GoTV 25, oneup2.com, ntvafrica.my.na, Business First Africa is not just about business. It is about life. Good night.